episode of 1923 Main Street.
Home of everything to do with travel in style. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bello Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bello Braddock. And today, packing light for Walt Disney World, the Disney Capsule wardrobe.
Yes, very interesting. Last week we were talking about styling hoodies and, you know, if you're doing influencer photos or just style photos. And Amelia mentioned once in the middle of her commentary the capsule wardrobe or capsule packing. And we had some inquiries about what is, you know, how does that work? What is it? So we thought we would do an episode this week dedicated to capsule packing.
I find this so funny because, at least for me, when I'm building my wardrobe as a whole, I love to be building a capsule wardrobe or trying my best to build a capsule wardrobe. And that looks a little bit different for everybody based on your personal preferences that move through time. But it's different when you think about a Disney capsule wardrobe. Because there's some things that I would only really bring to Disney that I'm not going to bring if I'm sightseeing around Europe, for example.
And, you know, that's interesting. I think what we're going to do is this episode, all of our podcasts are stories in our blog on our website at 1923mainstreet.com. We're going to post another one generally about capsule, not a podcast, just a story. So if you want to compare the two. But let's talk about capsule wardrobe for Disney travel. I like that you differentiated there because they are different. A Disney vacation is different than sort of a exploring vacation or a European vacation or off the beaten track, those sorts of things. But one thing's the same. What is a capsule wardrobe, basically?
A capsule wardrobe is basically things that are versatile. They're able to mix and match. And ideally, when you're traveling, it's helpful if most of them are light, but they can still blend together to look, comfortable and stylish. Depends kind of what your style is per se, but as long as you have your own personal capsule wardrobe, there's a lot of different categories that go into a capsule wardrobe that you can then fill based on what your vibe is.
And the whole thing is less is more, right? Is to make minimal packing but the most flexibility.
Henceforth why I struggle with this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I love a good capsule wardrobe, but it's a challenge.
Yeah, so now, I think we should differentiate. I was going to ask you about this, but is it possible to, and probably not, but let me ask anyway, is it possible to have a capsule wardrobe if your intention is to do a style photo shoot?
Well, yeah, because it really depends how many different photos you realistically need. You don't need 100 totally different outfits unless you're trying to trick people that you're traveling for longer or that it's over a longer period. That's different. But generally, you don't really need that many different outfits. I don't know. There's tons of videos online if you're looking for ways to style. If you search on Pinterest, ways to style a black miniskirt or a graphic hoodie or whatever, there's a ton of different options that you can do with one piece. And you'll start to notice a lot of the other pieces are kind of cross-referencing. That's what I like to do. I like to make a Pinterest board with all my little outfits in one place.
Yeah, and I say this a lot to Amelia when we're chatting, but I think I'll point it out here for anyone struggling with this, is that when you are having the intention to take photos of yourself or your wardrobes, if you're just starting an Instagram channel or whatever, TikTok.
Which for most, or at least me, is every day, but go on.
And you're doing that, but my point here is capsule wardrobe can work because of the way we mix and match, and you'll get into that in a minute, is that people don't scrutinize, most viewers don't scrutinize your images on Instagram the way you do. So they'll scroll through and look at it. They'll see a nice wardrobe and love it, like it, make a comment. You might inspire them. They'll move on. If then that shirt is with a different bottom 2 days later, most people are not going to say, wait a minute, she wore that shirt 2 days ago. It's a different style. It's a different outfit. And even if they do notice it, it's actually a good thing for them because they're actually seeing the capsule wardrobe in action. So my point is, you can get away with less is more, and don't think you need to have absolutely every single thing different every single day or 3 times a day.
Yeah. Well, also because most people don't have a completely different outfit every single day unless they're a fashion influencer that is constantly gifted clothes by brands to wear places that they don't actually own. Like actors on a press tour, they don't own these outfits. They're not taking them home and putting them in their closet. So if you're actually looking at your closet, having a capsule wardrobe is a fabulous idea. And there's a couple important things that go into a capsule wardrobe that we need to talk about.
Yeah, so let's take it. So what we're talking about is capsule wardrobe. You're going to take photos, but you're not doing this for the purpose of taking outfit photos. You're going on a Disney vacation. You want a lot of flexibility, but you don't want a lot of luggage.
Well, I think you can take cute photos with this. My purpose is always photos.
No, you can, but you're not an influencer is what I'm. You're not making money by taking so many travel photos of outfits, right? Is what I'm getting at. Today, we're not talking to that audience. We're talking to the audience who wants to have different outfits every day by using capsule wardrobe strategy and not having to bring a lot of luggage. Because one of the benefits is you're going to have extra room for stuff that you're going to want to buy. We know you.
You don't like my strategy of bringing everything I want and then buying everything I want?
So let me just say,
not a fan?
Before we get into core items and those sorts of things, there are three main benefits of the capsule wardrobe, and that is the first one. Less luggage and lighter luggage. If you do this properly, and don't start cheating, because then that defeats the whole thing of the capsule wardrobe. The second one, which I like, and I do this generally, I mean, I guess I always have packed capsule. I just haven't really thought of it that way.
Well,
is you have less outfit stress. In other words, you're not going to be waking up every day going, oh, does this go with that? Oh, I wish I brought that. Because you're going to pre-do that to some degree. And the third thing is that you know now you're ready for anything with this wardrobe on your vacation because you've planned, whether it's a cold day, a rainy day, a chilly bus, hot sun.
Well, I love to plan my outfits. You can do this in Pinterest. You can do this in photos. There's apps. There's
and
a
that's
ton
in
of apps.
Part of capsule,
you can
isn't
do
it?
This
you have to
physically with your pieces, moving them around on the floor, taking photos of all of them. I don't even know how many albums in my phone for different trips where I just have pictures of all of the outfits that I want to wear. And with a capsule wardrobe, you don't necessarily have to end up wearing every single outfit, but all of the pieces will get worn at some point or another in some way or another, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, you shouldn't bring anything you don't wear. You're guilty of that a lot.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you like to have options.
Yeah, but that's not what capsule is, right?
Well,
options that you don't wear. You're not bringing extra stuff because maybe you might wear it. That is not a capsule
cautious.
All right, let's talk about the core items for your Disney capsule wardrobe. What are the essential pieces you're going to pack?
Okay. Well, mainly if you're going to Disney, if you're not packing them, you're probably buying them. At least a good 2 or 3 graphic tees or like umpy t-shirts. This is the place on earth to wear usually your Disney inspired t-shirts, your theme park or your Star Wars or whatever your inspired t-shirts. Of course you want to wear them here. It's very much the vibe. It's very much the energy. It's so cute, especially if you've got, the little kiddos, you want to match with them. An adorable option. They can be soft, they can be breathable, and they can really show your personality. Like we have a ton.
And I'm going to make one point before you move on to the second item is we're going to put in our blog post some samples that we feel are good from our collection to give you an idea, because the important point
some
here
of
is
them are more capsule-y than others, admittedly.
Yeah, you don't want, the more loud of a graphic, the less flexibility you're going to have with it. So you want the type of thing, which happens to be our specialty, is the understated but still unique and cool type of graphic, because that's going to take you further.
It's like the t-shirt version of a hidden Mickey.
In a way, yeah.
Yes.
All right, number 2 item.
Yeah. Next one, I think this is arguably the most important, or at least for like my type of fashion, a neutral tank top or t-shirt. Anything that's plainly colored, even black, white, and if you're having like regular tank tops, like tan, one of those things that go with every outfit. They can be layered easily. Again, super small to pack. You can pop a jacket right on top, especially, if they're the athletic kind of tank top. That's just easy for the parks. And then you can put like a different bottom with them. Goes with everything. Highly recommend.
Because you might not want a graphic all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit easier. Again, not necessarily for this, but small to fit in your bag in case you like spill something or it gets too hot in a graphic tee. Just nice to have as a backup. Next up, I don't care what time of year you're going, you want at least one pair of comfortable shorts. Again, think neutrally toned, maybe jean shorts, maybe khaki shorts, anything that's kind of plain. Even if you have comfy track shorts like grays, beiges, whites, blacks, those type of things pair very nicely across all different things. And then specifically for Disney, if you have your graphic tees, your graphic hoodies or stuff like that, they can have the color and then your bottoms will complement.
Yeah, that's my approach usually.
Yeah.
Next one.
Same
now,
sort of thing.
This may or may not apply to you. That's why I was pausing. So the next one is you're going to want usually a pair of pants, leggings, joggers, whatever bottoms you like to bring. For me, this only applies to the winter months because I would rather bring a second pair of shorts in place of the pants, generally speaking. But this is a know yourself and your kind of style. But this is typically for cooler days or nights or evenings. Sometimes it gets cold even in the shoulder seasons. Or if you're going out somewhere for dinner and you want to pair. So you'll know your itinerary ahead of time.
Exactly.
Next up.
I always have a long pair of pants as well.
Yeah, I rarely do.
I always have both because it's never, instead of the middle of the day heat in August, I can always get away with like jeans and a lighter top.
For me, that's only to Christmas.
I just think it looks cute. It's not about the heat. It's about the style.
All right, let's move up top now.
Yes, a layering piece. Very important for, the weather or versatility and also be cute. A hoodie, a crew neck, a little fleecy situation. All great choices.
Could be a light jacket, I guess,
nice and
if that's
cozy.
your thing.
Exactly. Even an overshirt. You could always steal an overshirt from a brother, a boyfriend, a husband, whatever. Take one if you don't want to pack it. Great options for when it's cold out, but can still look nice and cute.
And here again, we're going to go neutrally. And if it's graphic, subtle graphics.
Next up, this more so for the girlies, but a versatile dress or a romper. Always gotta have one. For me, usually we like to go out for at least like one or two nice dinners or nice situations. Even if it's a casual like sundress romper, these are great for the heat. They're one singular thing to pack. You could just throw it on pretty much. Usually looks super cute. I always have a couple of these. I think these are a great option. Just very classic. If it's a plain dress or romper, again, you can layer that with something else quite easily. Dress it up, dress it down. It's just a good option to have around. And finally, with these ones, bathing suits. If you want to talk about bathing suits, for me personally, classic colors are great. I like to bring a one piece, or if I'm like to bring bikinis, I have been known to bring a little bit too many of these, but if you want to try and capsule it, one or two, one with a pattern, one that's plain, and then you can mix and match between the two of them, creating more looks. Switching a top and a bottom and then a different top and a bottom looks more different than you might think.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to get at earlier.
But having like one pattern top and the plain bottom and then having the same pattern on a bottom and the plain top, it looks entirely different.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, oh, this looks like a totally different outfit to me the next
All right.
day. But
now let's jump into some sample sort of packing outfits. Let's just do if you're going for a weekend versus if you're going for a full week. Just bullet points. What would you have in that travel bag?
yeah. I love a 3-day. Unfortunately, I usually have to tone this down. You still want to get It's Disney World. At least 2 graphic tees, 1 pair of shorts, 1 pair of longer pant options, a layering piece, and of course, a pair of sneakers.
And your swimsuit.
Yes. Well, depends when time of year you're going.
That is a good point. If you're going in December, scratch it because you really don't need it.
I always like to bring one.
Unless
they
you want
do
to
have hot
tub.
tubs.
Yeah.
I enjoy a hot tub. You don't, but I personally enjoy it.
Now, for most of us, the full week vacation, what's your
Yes.
starting point?
Of course. Okay. I like to think probably 3 or 4 graphic t-shirts. If I don't bring this, I'm going to end up having bought this. 2 bottoms. Usually, I would say 2 shorts, 1 pants at least for this type of option. Classic, versatile, so you can pair with your different kinds of graphic tees, stuff like that. 1 layering piece, 1 casual dress, and 2 pairs of shoes, especially if you're going in the summer and it's rain season or if you need pool shoes is another big thing to think about.
Good point. So there you have it. Capsule wardrobe, the method to the madness.
Yeah.
And, as I've been unintentionally doing this, and now I'm going to focus a little bit more and see if I can get it down even further. And try it out and let us know how it works. I think you'll be surprised of the less stress you have when you actually have less stuff in your suitcase because you've already thought about ensuring it all goes together, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like the mix match socks places.
Okay, well, that's an interesting analogy. But We'll be posting a couple of my favorite graphic tees to bring and mix and match easily this week. Oh, that's exciting.
All right.
That's a hard thing to do, honestly. Probably the hardest part of this.
Yeah.
Finding the right graphic tees and graphic hoodies.
Exactly.
But it can be done.
Planning pays off.
Yes, exactly.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. As always, follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. Visit the shop at 1923mainstreet.com. We will see you again next week and have a magical day.
Bye-bye.